Hi guys, welcome back. So in this video, we are going to talk about listing details and I'll show you my process, how I write listing description and fill out all the necessary information. This is specific to written text and instructions. So let's jump into it. So in prior video, we created a bare minimum listing. So from that, we can see all the different information that we have to fill out. The first is listing details. We have to fill out listing details section. We need to fill out pricing and availability section, policy and rules, and info for guests. So what I like to do is I have an Excel file where I have copied out all the sections that are necessary. And I usually fill out the information first in the Excel file, and then I copy it to the listing details. This way I can always know that the information, my listing details are safe. I can also version and make improvements to them, and I can keep the old version of the details, new versus new. And it's just easier to organize my workflow. So here is the sample file. This sample file will be in the description of the video. You will also get a couple other samples with our different apartments. All right. So in this file, you can see that all the sections, necessary sections are written out. So first thing is we need a listing title, then we have internal name, then we need listing description, space, guest access, other details to note, neighborhood description, getting around, additional rules, pre-booking message if you're using one. We don't usually use this. Interaction with guests, directions to the apartment, and guest manual. And we also need check-in instructions. We have not provided check-in instructions to this apartment here, but we'll give you a high-level overview of what we want to do in the check-in instructions. You can also see the links tab in this file. And if you go to this first link, there's a nice online article talking about similar things, how to set up a proper, good Airbnb listing. That article is also pretty useful. It's a free resource online, so we encourage you to use that together with the series of videos in this course. There's also a latitude, longitude calculator. So the key rule for writing a good Airbnb listing description is to keep it concise, keep the paragraphs short, maximum 5 or 6 lines, use the bullet points, and then use the emojis. So this is a pro tip about using emojis. In most cases, you can't use emojis in Airbnb listing, but there is some tricks that you can use. Basically, if you're filling out your Airbnb listing on your desktop, which most of you probably are filling out your Airbnb listing on the desktop, you can't use the emojis. But you can then, after you're done with filling out your Airbnb listing on your desktop, then you can go on your phone and edit emojis from the listing description in your phone app. This will also be shown in the video how to add emojis to the listing. Emojis just capture people's attention and they just make listing stand out a little bit more. So we would highly encourage you to use emojis, especially if you want to direct guests or potential guests' attention to a specific part in your listing. Another great tool to help you write Airbnb listing is AI. So you can use ChatGPT or other software. They will literally write your Airbnb listing for you. It might help you and save you lots of time. AI is a good tool to use if you have to do any kind of copywriting or if you have to write any listings. So as I said, we want to keep the paragraphs short and concise. We want to use lots of bullet points with emojis, preferably. We want to give guests as much information. We don't want to lie to the guest. We want to be as descriptive as possible. And very, very important is not to leave any section empty. So for the search, for high ranking, you need to have every section filled out. And with the samples that I'll give you, like 3 different apartments, you can copy most of the information from there, change it, and really make a great listing. This information should be enough to do like 70 or 80% of the work for you. You will obviously have to adjust it to it, and make improvements to it. Most of our listings are 1 bedroom apartments, so you will have to make adjustments. Let's say if you have like 3 bedroom house, things like that. But the idea, the concept is the same. These are great examples, so use it to your advantage. I think it will make your life easier. So this is a great resource, like to justify the cost of this course, and I think this will help you a lot and save you lots of time, especially if you're a beginner. But even if you're an advanced host, you should find some new information in this file, even if you are an expert host. Something, things to improve for you, your business, and your operations. So now I'm going to go through each and every section and give you some pointers. The first thing is the title. So you have 50 characters. Try to use as much space as you can. For this particular apartment, we have lovely large 1 bedroom near park and metro, and a queen bed. So we highlighted that it's a large 1 bedroom. We highlighted that it's a near park, it's near metro, and there's a queen bed. If your apartments have advantages like this, you should highlight them in the title. Then we go into description. So we will give a general high-level overview of the apartment with couple sentences. Then we briefly mention key amenities: full kitchen, AC, heating, work desk, fast Wi-Fi. And then usually if it's close to a transportation hub, we mention that in one line. And then the last statement is usually ideal place for remote workers, couples, and small families, specifically for long-term stay in this apartment. You want to keep this concise, and you want to keep this to 6 lines. Because when you first open the Airbnb listing, I will show you this when we go to the listing later on, you can see first 6 lines. So that way, even if the guests don't open description of your apartment, they will still see first 6 lines. So you want to put as much information in the first 6 lines as possible. And you also want to highlight parking if the building has a parking as well. So the next section is the space. So when you're talking about space, I usually also like to briefly touch about neighborhood, because for many people, neighborhood is important. They want to live in a safe neighborhood. Lots of the people want to live in a family-friendly neighborhood where there is little to no noise. So I usually briefly mention that. But the main thing here is to describe spaces in the bullet points. So here we have a bedroom and living space, and we have all the amenities. Kitchen, all the amenities. If you have free coffee and tea, highlight, make the word free uppercase. You have free shampoos, body wash, and soap, highlight it, make the word free uppercase. If building has no elevator, you should highlight that. In this case, we want to let the guests know that it's a walk up to 4th floor, because for some people it's a problem to walk up 4th floor. They don't want to walk up 4th floor, so we want to be clear, and we want to make sure that they know that this is a walk up, so there's no surprise later. Family friendly neighborhood, mostly families live nearby. There's a parking, important to highlight the parking. And also very, very important is to let the guests know that you're available, right? So if you need any household items, please let us know. If you need anything, please let us know. If you have any questions, please let us know. This is the key message that you should convey in your listing, because lots of the times there's a problem in the apartment and you don't know about it. The best thing is when you know about the problem. So you should communicate. It should be really clear within your listing details, automated messages, all of your communication to your guests. If there is something happening, please let us know, give us opportunity to fix it. This is the mindset that you should have for your Airbnb listing to be successful. So that message should always be clear. If there is something happening, if you don't know something, let us know. Let us fix things. So next thing is guest access. The guests will have whole apartment to themselves. I usually like to talk about the package drop-off in this section, and then I also tell them for how many people is the apartment designed, and give them information about extra bed and stuff like that. Other things to note, I like to highlight that it's a self-checking, though it also shows on Airbnb. It's no smoking apartment. The part of the world where this apartment is located, people smoke a lot, so we always want to highlight to the people it's not a smoking apartment. Please don't smoke in an apartment. Um, Also, if there's a balcony, we usually tell them use the balcony to smoke, because people smoke anyways, and you do want to give them directions to where they can actually smoke properly without causing you any harm. Again, highlighting that building has no elevator, and this is the message that we want to convey. Trip related issues. So sometimes things happen. Um, Please let us know. This is the message that we want to convey clearly in a few different sections to make sure that if things come up, guests message you and let you know. Also, over the times, based on our experience, we've seen that we only feel comfortable with long-term stays if apartment is cleaned at least twice per month. So we convey to the guests that if they're booking for a long term, we provide to them one free cleaning, and we advise you to do the same per month, and they agree to pay for the second one. And the payment is standard cleaning fee. So this is something that we didn't do in the beginning, but over many, many years, we've come to the conclusion that we want to keep apartments clean, and we don't want to see any surprises. We want to have access to the apartment at least every 2 weeks, so that the apartment is cleaned professionally at least every 2 weeks. This way, you know that if the guests are dirty, you know that they're dirty. So by the time their checkout comes, you have your cleaning room ready and go. You give them extra time, anticipating that the apartment will be left in a bad condition. So this is a really good pro tip I encourage even for the professional hosts to use. Some of you who are professional hosts might not do this. We encourage you to give this a try. And lastly, if you want to convey again, if you have any questions, please message us. Neighborhood description, usually we give like a one small paragraph about the neighborhood. Usually we tell them if it's a trendy, if it's popular among the tourists, and then we also mention if it's a family-friendly neighborhood, and then we give distances to the key landmarks. This apartment is in Tbilisi, so metro station, some parks, some shopping centers are usually key landmarks. You want to give them an idea how far it is from all of those places. Getting around, we usually just speak briefly about different ways of transportation. In this example, you have metro. In most cases, best transportation method is taxi. If they have a car, we talk to them a little bit about the parking, a bus, and eventually we tell them to just use Google Maps, because Google Maps works pretty well in most countries around the world. Very, very important section is additional rules. This section is very, very important. So we start out telling them that to read our house rules carefully and make sure they agree with them, make sure they agree with our rules, and there is no surprises, right? Second thing, we always want to say that it's non-smoking apartment. People smoke anyways, so we want to highlight that one more time. The third thing, we talk about the cleaning and tell them that the reason why our cleaning fees are low is because we expect the guests to leave the apartment clean. So I would encourage you to say something like this in your house rules. When people see explicitly that you expect them to leave the apartment clean, the chances are they would actually do it. So this is always good to highlight this, and always good to say explicitly, please leave the apartment clean and take out the trash, things like that. Depending on where you live and what type of apartment you have, Um, if you have a risk of parties, you want to highlight that parties are not allowed, and like locals should communicate before booking. You can talk about unregistered guests. Um, Again, highlighting no smoking. Okay, so this is here by mistake, so I should take this out. This apartment has no balcony, but if it had the balcony, then you would let them know to smoke on the balcony. We don't allow any pets. We don't want to deal with the cleaning problems. Our cleaning crew doesn't like them. If you can clean the apartments and you allow pets, that's a good search boost for you. Especially in the United States, every family has a pet, so chances are that your bookings will go up. And then some common sense things that guests might not do: to take out trash, to turn off AC and heating. In the last section, you tell them that if they break the rules, what are precautions. So we have some fines for cleaning, smoking, late checkout, lost keys, pets. Usually, it's really hard to uphold these things, but it's just good to have it clearly stated to the guest, because some people might think that they will get fined. So they might not damage anything, or can don't not smoke or leave the apartment clean just because they see these fines explicitly. So this is more just like a deterrent. It's really hard to uphold to these things, and it's really hard to charge your guests and fine them. It's practically very difficult. So the next thing is instant book. We'll talk about instant book and how we use it. Um, but there's a section in instant book where you can send the guest a message. So here's an example of the message, but usually we don't even use this. So we let the people book anyways. The only thing that we do with instant book is if they have good past reviews, that's the only time they can instant book. Otherwise, they have to talk to us. Regardless, here's an example of the pre-booking message for you. You can use it if you need it. Interaction with guests. So this is the important section because it shows up on the front page of Airbnb. And I will show you what are important sections on the front page of Airbnb. Even if they don't reopen the house rules and things like that, the most obvious place is the front page of the listing. So any space that you get on the front page, you should use it to your full advantage. So here, interaction with guests, we just let them know, thank you for staying with us. Please read the house rules again. Make sure it's the right house for you. And again, if the trip issues come up, please let us know. Anything you don't like, please let us know. If you have any questions, messages. So it's okay to state key points a few times in your listing. If you have any problems, let us know. If any questions, let us know. This should be at least in 3 different places in your listing, so that it's clear for the guest to let you know when the problems come up. If you know about the problems, you will fix them, you'll get 5-star reviews, your revenues will go up. It's very simple. The workflow, the circle is locked in, and it just feeds into your success story, your Airbnb listing success story. You get positive loop, you get positive feedback, you fix things, make things better, revenues go up, guests are most satisfied, and the positive feedback loop just keeps on going and delivering. The next thing is directions. We usually just tell them to take taxi, but we also highlight here in this section, if you need to transfer help from the airport to the apartment, let us know. Take taxi. If you have a car, park it. Otherwise, use Google Maps. We usually tell them explicitly which taxi mobile application works. In most cases, it's Uber or Lyft, or both. So the guest manual is in this section. You tell them how to use the amenities in your house. Let's say how to operate a grill, how to, I don't know, open the door, close the window, stuff like that. But we usually keep this short and concise. If you want to give them any kind of specific instructions, we sometimes print them out and leave them or stick it to the hardware, or we give, we want them to really pay attention to certain things, um, then we send them the specific thing inside the messages. We send them explicit automated message. For example, one of our apartments has a renovated bathtub, so we tell them, be careful while cleaning the bathtub, or don't clean the bathtub, let us know and we'll clean it for you. They might use wrong chemicals and destroy the bathtub, so we let them explicitly know. So yeah, again, reiterating, if issues come up, let us know. If you don't know how to operate anything, let us know. The Wi-Fi, we always write it on the router, even though Airbnb also sent them the Wi-Fi information. Sometimes they might arrive in the apartment and they don't know have an internet in their cell phone, so it's good to have a Wi-Fi password written on the router. We talk a little bit about complementary TV, and we ask them to turn off the lights. Obviously, this section can be more utilized, but we keep it very simple. If you have anything like, let's say there's outdoor shower, give them instructions about outdoor showers, things like that, you can put that in here. But lots of times people don't read this section anyway, so you have to let them know explicitly or message them. And lastly is the check-in instructions. So for check-in instructions, the best practice is to write check-in instructions to your best ability, but it's also iterative process. You write check-in instruction. If people don't follow them or they get confused, you make your check-in instructions better. Usually, our check-in instructions say something like this: the entrance is from the north side of the building. It's the first entrance. Apartment is on the fourth floor. Give them apartment number. Which side on the fourth floor? Let's say it's a right. On the right side, it's a white door on the right side. We tell them explicitly. We also have numbers on our door. We tell them where they can find lockbox. If there's a lockbox, we tell them explicitly to pick up the keys from the lockbox, things like that. We also give them address, like explicit correct address in the check-in instructions. If there is any kind of additional instructions, if they have to pick up the keys from reception, you will talk them through it. You would write the detailed instructions, and then if the guests keep asking you many questions during the check-in process, then you know that you have to improve it. Another thing you should know that do instructions with the pictures on your phone. You can't do this on the desktop, but through your phone, you can do the check-in instructions on your phone. So I will be showing you later on my phone how we added check-in instructions to this specific apartment. So this is all the sections and all the information that you need to fill out for the apartment. So use this file to your advantage. So usually what I do is when I have a listing, first I work on the photos, and then afterwards or in parallel, I write this file. I'll fill out this information for the specific listing in this file. And usually if you have multiple listings, once you have done this one time, then it's a matter of copying and pasting, and it gets much, much easier. So, and then after I have this description filled out, then I start copying information into the listing. In my following videos, I'm going to be copying this information into the actual listing, and I will be adding emojis through my phone. Thank you very much. That's all for this video.